And if there's anybody who understands what it's like to be in a super regional, and in his case, take the mound in the deciding game, it's former Raging Cajun right-hander Scott Dohmann. And how much this year have you thought about 2000?
You can't help it. Just think about putting yourself in the shoes of the guys in the locker room and what they're going through, the fun that they're having, the fun that the community's having. It's just a big domino effect, and it's all fun. It's a blast, a lot of adrenaline, a lot of emotions, and the big balance of that on the player's part is keeping those emotions in check.
Keeping emotions in check is certainly not an easy thing to do. You had a chance to go ahead and 2 years in a row play in a super regional, and now we all know. We were talking. Now we know what those things are, but those were the first 2 years that there were ever a super regional, and before that it was 6-team tournaments, and all you had to do was win one, and you went to the College World Series, and now there was an extra step, and it was 2 out of 3, and it was just a little bit different, but you got a chance to go through 2 of them, and the first one didn't turn out the way everybody wanted, and then the second one was as storybook a story as this university has ever had, and that's a heck of a way to do your last 2 years of college baseball, is to go ahead and be in a position like that. You played on a couple of really good ball clubs.
We did. It was fun. The first year with Rice in '99, obviously it didn't, like you said, it didn't turn out the way we wanted to. But the old saying goes, delaying is not denying. Stay with it. We learned a lot from it. We got there. We got exposed to it. And it's no coincidence that the following year we're going up against number 1 again at their place. And here we are again. We've been through it. We've done it. We know what to do now because we learned the hard way. Sometimes it's not the funnest way to learn things, but it's the quickest way.
Let me ask you about how one helped the other, because in '99 you won the first game. You were 1 win away. You needed one more victory. You didn't get it. Rice won the next 2. How much did that help when you go to Columbia and you lose game 1?
We knew exactly what they were feeling, because now the shoes have flipped. They're on the other side of the table now, and we're sitting back. Okay, we lost game 1, but so did Rice. So we knew exactly what was going on both sides, what they were going through mentally, what we were going through mentally. We felt like we were in the driver's seat because now we have nothing to lose. Because we win the game 2, now we have the momentum going into game 3, and they've lost it, and that's a big key.
I said during the regional over the weekend that when you force the if necessary game, that the momentum does shift. The pressure goes to the other team, and I really felt like going into the game on Monday that the momentum was on the Cajun side, even though they had used more pitching, and that Mississippi State had the pressure now. And I'm always going to believe that if you force if necessary, you weren't in the driver's seat before the game started, but you kind of are afterwards.
Absolutely. Adrenaline has taken over. Like I said, they see you coming now. They've been waiting for you to come, and now all of a sudden you're here, and they're here with a vengeance. And that's what happened this past weekend. It was fun to watch. As soon as they got to Mississippi State, knowing that they had the momentum, I know they were going to be tired. They had that long rain delay, and it was a long day at the park. But I think just ultimately the guys, they're feeding off each other, the adrenaline to watch them playing hard baseball. You weren't going to stop them. They could see the end. They had the fight, and Mississippi was on their heels.
You are doing something called working for a living now,
Right?
And you have my sympathies. And so you're not at the ballpark every day, but you've been able to see this team play a few times this year, right?
Yes, and it's very reminiscent. Like you said, it's at a point where I played for a while and I took a break, took a good little year or two off, step away from the game a little bit, enjoy the family time, stay home, tired of traveling. But I'm getting back to the ballpark now and enjoying some baseball back again. But for a while I took a little break just to get away, and what a year to come back and watch some baseball. And
yeah, good timing. As a matter of fact, if I were you, I'd just go ahead and take all the credit for this.
No, I can't do that. That's for sure. But they're playing great, and it's a joy to watch. And I know a lot of people are reminiscing, and I'm sure the clubs over the past 14 years are tired of hearing about 2000. Well, they're doing a great job of trying to erase it right now. And it's a fun to watch.
At the same time, it's never going to get erased, right? Not totally.
Right. We'll just be a little more has-been.
Boy, those guys are old now. You're Scott Dohmann, former Raging Cajun right-hander who pitched in the College World Series, pitched in the major leagues for a few years with Colorado and Tampa Bay, played in Japan. We're going to talk about that before it's over with, just to try to figure out what that year was like. I've never been overseas. I would imagine that was an experience, and we'll get to that a little bit. The story's been told a lot. And 2 years ago, when I wrote my pieces about my most memorable moments, we told the story again about being on the mound in 1999 and not getting a victory, and you deciding that you were going to use that maybe as a little motivation for the following year. You cut out the box score, you taped it up in your locker. You looked at it every day. I want you to tell me, first of all, you were just a sophomore that year in '99. Tell me what that bus ride home was like after that game was over with for you, not for the team, but for you personally. And then we'll get into 2000 and talk about what happened then.
Well, I'll take it a step further. It wasn't just the bus ride; it was the whole off season after that. I felt responsible that our dreams didn't come to fruition. I felt responsible for that whole deal. I had it in my hands and I let it slide, and it was very upsetting. But you got one or two ways to go about it. You can pout about it, or you can start moving forward and looking forward to next year. And what can I do to adjust that and not let it happen again? So that was maybe the focus. I need something to look at to remind me. I mean, you hear a lot about the box score and this and that. It's just more a symbolism of, why am I going to work today? Why am I going to run these tunnels or run these laps? Because of that loss right there. That's why. Because when it comes around again, I'll be more prepared.
Yeah, but you didn't know it was going to come around again. I mean, I know that. Look, I know you had the bulk of that team was back. Okay, from 1999. Tony has said many times that he thought the experience of 1999 is one of the reasons why you were able to get it done in 2000, not only for you, but for that entire ball club. And at the same time, you're not promised anything. I mean, there was nothing that you said, okay, you show up in the fall for your fall workouts and then in the spring and say, okay, let's see, we finished second last year in that super regional, so therefore it's our turn to finish first. You still got to go out and play, so you can use it for as much motivation as you want to. You still got to go out and win.
Right, and when I say I felt responsible, I can tell you that there was about 30 other players on that bus that were saying the same thing, that they felt responsible. So I think that's what made the big difference that following year. Everybody went home bitter. Everybody went home, and we got a bulk of them back for the following year, and everybody came back with the same goal and focus. We had the taste of it now, and we wanted a whole bite. We wanted the whole pie.
Pie is good.
Pie is, until it's shoved in your face, but then
that's
the humble pie.
That's humble pie. You're
right.
But you came back the next year, and of course, you guys put together a magical start to the season. You started at 29-2. I remember the two games that you lost during that 31-game stretch. One was to Southeastern over in Hammond. It was a day Danny Mazziotti hit a home run left-handed. And a game that I missed because of, I don't even remember the reason, but a game down at the University of New Orleans when Jess Poche hit one about 6 miles into the wind and they caught it at the wall, and you took a 1-run loss in that game, and I think there were a couple of men on at the time, but those were the only 2 losses you had in the first 31 games of the season. At that time, you had to have said, okay, now this is a situation where, okay, we're a good ball club. I mean, when during 2000, and you knew you were going to have a good club coming in, but I remember in 99, I'm going to go back a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
In 1999, you went into the day of the selections, and you didn't know if you were going to be in or not. I remember Tony said, we're going to watch this privately because we don't want to have a party and then get embarrassed by not getting selected. Now, as it turned out, not only were you selected, you were a number 2 seed, but going into selection day, you didn't even know if you were going to the tournament.
Right.
And so now you're 29-2. So now you've got to have a little bit different feeling because you've gotten off to such a good start. By then you had to have known you were a good ball club.
Absolutely. And I think it's a mindset starting from day one. in the fall. Everybody came back excited because we had a successful season. It wasn't as successful. We lost in the Super Regional, but you still got to consider it a successful season. And everybody came back prepared. And when we jumped out 29-2, it just showed that everybody was focused and it was coming together just like everybody anticipated. Like you said, I didn't know I was going to get another chance, but I never doubted that I was. We never doubted that we were going to get right back there, because if we did it last year and we got the bulk back, we're the same group of guys with the same chemistry, more chemistry now coming back, and that's huge. When you have a bulk back and the chemistry like these guys in 2014 have, the chemistry is huge, and when they feed off of each other, it's pretty special.
That is a good time to go ahead and take our first break, because chemistry, there's something that Tony Robichaux has said about chemistry for many, many years. And we're going to talk about the difference between good chemistry and not as good chemistry and what it can mean. Scott Dohmann, former Raging Cajun right-hander who pitched in the College World Series and pitched the Cajuns to the College World Series, is our guest this afternoon during this hour of Bird's Eye